So let's start. Well, my name is David Sebane. I work at Funding Box. I've been the project manager of Impact Connected Car during 3 years, the period 2017-2019. And welcome everyone to this webinar that is an important milestone for the project, since after 3 years of implementation and 2 open calls where we have been support close to 60 SMEs and startups in the automotive industry. This webinar is addressed to explain you how we have done in this project, to explain you which have been the success factors of this project. And well, according to the agenda, we have here with me and with all of you some of the more relevant partners that have been participating in the Impact Connected Car project. We will make a short intro by all the partners. I've done it by myself. And then we will come with the presentation of the Impact Connected Car Toolkit, which basically means that this document, which is one of the last deliverables of the project, is explaining you how we have done in Impact Connected Car, as I said before, which have been the success factors, and which are the next steps if you want to collaborate with us, or basically if you want to implement our acceleration methodology in your own SME support or startup support programs that you want to implement as a region, as an accelerator, as a digital innovation hub, with aiming at support startups, not only in the connected car or the mobility space, but also in other areas that are of your interest. We have this deliverable, which is the toolkit, which explains you which are the logical steps to follow our methodology. We are trying to explain you how to do it through this presentation. Afterwards, my colleague Kathy will explain you a further step of the sustainability process that we cross-apply in several projects, in several EU projects. We do not have only a toolkit as we have in Connected Car, but we also have what we call a label, which is a further step to allow you to, let's say, tag your region or tag your supported SMEs in supporting programs, and how to do this in a further step. So in the toolkit, in the Connected Car toolkit, we only explain you how to do it, and if you want to do it and if you want to implement some of the actions of the methodologies that we are applying in our acceleration methodology, we ask you to sign a memorandum of understanding, and that's all. But the label, let's say, is a further step, and we have an example from other projects that my colleague Kathy will explain you, and then we will open the room to a Q&A with the participants. So after this intro, I would like to give the word to the rest of the partners here. So maybe we can start by CTAG. They have a presentation. I will share it on the screen. Maybe, I don't know if Gemma, are you there?
Yeah, morning. Good morning.
Okay, I will show your presentation in the screen. So can you see it now?
Perfectly.
Okay, so simply say me next slide, and I will pass it.
Thank you. So my name is Gemma Antequera, here on behalf of CTAG. CTAG is the Automotive Technology Center of Galicia, and is a private non-profit research center created by the automotive sector in 2002 to offer advanced technological solutions. Next. We are settled down in Vigo, in the northwest of Spain, and we count on a team of more than 800 professionals, most of them engineers and PhDs. We work mainly with international companies, the 70% of our activity, and most of these companies are OEMs, such as PSA, Daimler, Volvo, and so on. So next, we are divided in 4 main areas of activity: materials and processes, testing, passive safety, and electronics and ITS. Next. These are our facilities here in Vigo. We have 5 buildings. The first one is the new materials area that they are specialized in green materials and smart materials, in new technologies for plastic processing. They have more than 17 patents, and they are participating in more than 20 European projects. We have also processes. The process department is specialized in Industry 4.0. They have new building lab for testing here on your left hand, sorry. They have testing of collaborative robots, exoskeleton, testing dynamics, etc. We also have a testing and validation area with laboratories specialized in noise and vibration, in powertrain and emissions, in ENGIE, and recently they have equipped a new battery lab for testing. We also have passive safety in yellow area that can give support to the integration of vehicle restraint system and also to the development of the components. And in pink, we have electronic and ITS area that is divided in 4 different fields: ADAS and vehicles automation, connectivity, electromobility, comfort, and interior. And in CITAC, we also have in pink, low, medium speed test track. And in Portugal, we have high speed test track. Next one. And finally, what has been our role in impact? Together with Mobeo, we have been providing the technical coaching to the SMEs. We have organized a specialization with the CITAC staff. We have provided technical assistance to SMEs, and some of them have been in CITAC to carry out tests in our driving simulator here in the pictures, or tests in the test track, or electromagnetic compatibilities tests, for example. So next, I would like to thank you this presentation, and this is the mail where you can contact me or my colleague Raul, and we could answer your question if you have any. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gemma. So next partner should be Mobeo, which is the one that you mentioned before, Gemma. So please, I think Florent is there.
Yes, I'm online. Thank you, David. And yeah, I'm Florent Anon, representing Mobeo. So Mobeo is a French cluster working in the field of automotive and mobility. We have been active for about 10 years right now. And our main goal is to support our members. So that's 350 of them. And we support them in developing innovation projects. We help them also to find the right partners, access public funding, expand their business activity, cooperate, and overall, we leverage on our network, which is composed of large companies, SME startups, research labs, local authorities also. Most of them based in Normandy and Paris region, which account for more than approximately 70% of the French automotive output. So, with the support of a pool of more than 100 business and technological experts, we bring innovation projects to the next level for the members of the cluster. So this is a large part of what we have been doing also within Impact Connected Car, where our main activities were related to the identification of top-level innovators first, for SMEs and startups, then technical coaching, and also linkage industrial players. So, yeah, there's some noise on the line, but I hope that you heard well. And
Thank you. May I ask you, all the rest of the people to mute their micros? Yeah, because yeah, that is great. Once the others speak, so thank you very much. So the next one is Auto Cluster. Adam.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Okay. So we are Auto Cluster. My name is Adam Berhotsky from Automotive Cluster of Czech Republic. We are located in Ostrava, which is the east part of the Poland border. And together with my colleague Jana, we were responsible for the, let's say, smooth progress and organizing the, for example, the funding bootcamp for the startups. Maybe what I would like to say that when the project impact was at the beginning, it was very challenging for us to find companies in Czech Republic and, for example, in Slovakia, which can apply in the field of impact connected car topics. But when the impact connected car is already on the finish, we can say that currently, let's say the mobility of connected car companies are, let's say, rising up. So like that at the beginning, it was the companies on, let's say, Western Europe, but now it's already started also be here. And as an auto cluster, we are a member-based organization. We have currently 82 members. 50 from them are SMEs, and we are providing for them some services in human development, research and development, and business relations. And maybe if you can see the picture, this is our webpage and hashtag where you can contact us. And I think that's enough for the intro.
Thank you, Adam. So the next one is Michal from LPNP. I will share your show presentation on the screen. So please, Michal, you can start.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's really a pleasure to meet you all in here. I am Michał Pukacz from Lublin Science and Technology Park. We are located in Eastern Poland. The park creates a platform of cooperation between Lublin and universities and also business. We help young entrepreneurs to start and develop their own companies by providing most affordable conditions to run the business. And our role in the project was to organize second disruptive bootcamp and also find the companies that are working and companies and startups working in the automotive sector in Poland and also countries abroad. Next slide. This is the some shots of our building. We have a co-working space, conference and training rooms. We have plenty of space for the companies. Next slide, please. This is our let's say key role. What we are doing. We have Young Engineering Academy when we teach kids how to code. Also, we have a technology incubator when we help develop here a young startup by giving peripheral condition for the rent, support of the legal action, and also of the business mentors. We also have InnoBrokers. This is a group of our employees that help commercialize invention from the universities and put them on the market. Also, we have the Lublin Design Institute when we are focusing of the design side of the technology. We are also partner of the Polish Research and Development Cluster of the Internet of Things when we have a voluntary agreement of over 50 companies from Poland that are focusing on the IoT. We also have our 2 acceleration programs. Next slide, please. This is some events we are hosting, and also we are cooperating and co-organizing in our park. Next slide, please. This is the events that are focusing on children. Next slide, please. And here are brief information about our 2 acceleration programs that we create in 2 acceleration programs over 90 companies. We invest over 17 million Polish zlotys by using government and private money. So for us, like really pleasure to say that every company we create still exists. Next slide, please. The one company from our acceleration is Sandoz. That is the Sandoz is personalized supplement for the supplement composition that are prepared for the clients currently and the A round. So this is good to know that what we create is growing on the market. Next slide, please. The IntelliWise is the company that using AI created chatbots. Also, we create IntelliWise contact center by the order of the Ministry of Development. Next slide, please. Next company is EduSense that teach youngest how to code by using the robot they create. Next slide, please. Next company is the Plantalux. The company use LED light in the enhancing plants grow in the greenhouse production. Next slide, please. They also and the E-round, so they also booming on the market. The last company of few we create is Predictail. They create and development system of the predicting main function in the mechanism and vehicles and also in the wind turbines. So as you can see, we have a brief spectrum of the companies we invest, from the IoT to the biotechnology to the supplements and so on, so on. So next slide, please. That's it. If you have any question, I will be more than glad to help you and answer on it. Here you have my private mail, so you can contact me directly. Thank you.
Thanks, Michal. And last but not least, because they are in charge of the Interconnected Car Toolkit, I will give the word to Marila from PARP.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. My name is Maryla Wojcieszek. I represent PARP. In English, this is Polish Agency for Enterprise Development, which is a public governmental agency. It's almost 20 years old, so we are very experienced. And the main goal of PARP's activity is actually to design and implement support programs for entrepreneurs. We have very broad scope of what we can offer to micro, small, medium, and large companies. But one of our most recognized programs are actually the acceleration programs, such as Scale Up, Poland Prize, and some others. That's why Impact Connected Car was so close to our hearts and to what we are doing on an everyday basis, because we could actually observe and engage ourselves in how acceleration can be done in an international model with international partners, which was very fruitful to us. And thank you here to all the partners in the project. Our model of acceleration that we design and implement in PARP mostly involves linking startups to corporate partners, and this is also the model that was implemented in the Impact Connected Car project. So it's again something that we truly actually implement in our activities. And I think what makes the smartization toolkit and everything that is in it, which is described in it, makes it really reliable. And the PARP's role in the project, in the Impact Connected Car project, was actually to observe the process. We also had our representatives engaged in assessment in the second batch of the acceleration. And we were responsible for creating the smartization toolkit. And we are also the partner for all the parties and the organizations which are interested in signing the Memorandum of Understanding. So if any of you who are now present in the webinar are interested in expressing their willingness to somehow engage in supporting automotive and mobility industry and entrepreneurs from those sectors, you are very welcome to contact me, and we can discuss and actually execute signing of the memorandum of understanding for the purpose of designing and perhaps undertaking some common actions in the future in this field. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Marilla. So let's go with the presentation itself. So here you can see an overview of all the partners in the first slide. Here we have made the presentation of the representatives of what we call the C-car hubs, the connected car hubs. So they are the clusters involved in the project together with the representative of the region, which is PARP. But on top of this, as you can see at the bottom of this first slide, we have all the representatives that are needed to make from this acceleration methodology a success. And this is something that we will explain in the project, in the presentation, sorry. We have corporates, we have representatives from the different sectors that are involved in the connected car space. So we are talking about connectivity, automotive representatives, we have the FIA, we have the Fire Foundation from the tech perspective, and we have also representatives from the dissemination across startups space, let's say, and that's why we have the Mobile World Capital Barcelona that has been helping us in scouting startups and taking our startups to major events related to the connectivity and the mobility space. So this is the reason behind that I will try to explain when I will show you a more detailed consortium here. The connected car definition, the smartization process, it's what we call the process of industrial mutation that transforms those structures from the adaptation of key enabling technologies from to a traditional sector, which is the car manufacturing sector, let's say. How are we getting into this process? So basically, what we are doing is a two logical steps process where we first provide the acceleration services to SMEs across Europe, and then we do what we call hybridization between supported SMEs and rooted companies and sectors. This is basically to get connections with car makers, connections with corporates, or connections with other SMEs that might be interested in adopting the methodologies or the technologies that have been supported through the acceleration program itself. We have several success cases, not only of interaction or even acquisition of solutions that are provided by our connected car startups and SMEs by corporates, but also we have some collaboration agreements that have been achieved between the SMEs participating in the program themselves. So basically, when we call about hybridization, we are talking about the connections between the supported SMEs and not only corporates, but also other SMEs that might be SMEs that are working within the clusters that have been participating in the project, within the beneficiaries themselves, and so on. So not only connection with the startups, but connection across all the value chain possible links that are related or interacting with the connected car space. And as a result, we have what we call the smartization program, which is this document, this deliverable, where we are explaining, thanks to the that PARP has been done, as Marilla said before, they have been observing of the process, and they have been explaining and which is the perspective that they have as a region to see how to implement this program at regional level, because we are talking about the potential to unveil which are the next champions on the connected mobility space in your region. This might be a region, but this might be also an accelerator. We are telling you through this smartization process how to select, how to scout, how to find, and how to support the best startups and SME in the connected space across Europe or even at regional or local level. Basically, our pool of attraction, our value proposition for the SMEs was the equity-free financing of up to 60,000 euros. But we have the experience with the impact methodology in Funding Box, that we are leading several impacts. Let's say this is impact connected car, that the companies are coming for the money, but they are staying for the services. They're staying for these connections that we are able to provide thanks to the powerful network of partners that we have. So it's not only the equity-free financing, the equity-free funding. This is a quite interesting value proposition, obviously, because we are talking about an accelerator, but we are not taking equity from the companies. But on top of that, we are providing a massive network of possibilities to the SMEs and the startups to interact with other actors in the value chain in the mobility space. First of all, just to let you know which have been the trends that we have been following. So basically, which are the challenges that we open in the different open calls, in the 2 batches of open calls that we have in the project. So these are simply the examples of types of areas, types of activities on which we asked the companies to submit their applications. We are talking about safety and security, driver assistance, well-being, mobility management, vehicle management, and infotainment. So these are the current trends that have been analyzed in the project at the beginning, but that we thought that were the most trendy areas on which the connected mobility sector should run. But on top of that, we were working from the beginning of the project in redefining these challenges. That's why it's so important that we had involved corporates, the clusters themselves, representatives from the startup world to redefine these challenges. And on top of that, we define what we usually call an open innovation challenge. And that's the reason why we mentioned this text in this slide, or different areas with proven impact on the connected car industry. So we did not want to be close and simply limit the areas or the types of activity on which we were accepting applications to these 6, let's say, prioritized areas. We wanted to be open. So one of the first principles that we had in connected car was openness. So it is true that we were following these trends in the connected car space, but we were open to receive other solutions. So this is the first learning from the project. On top of that, we wanted to select the best startups, the best SMEs that were able to demonstrate their involvement in the acceleration program. So the entry criteria or the eligibility criteria, I will not go into much detail about this, but we set what we call a pre-scoring criteria. This means that the more the better, according to this criteria, but we ask that the involvement of the team would get at least the involvement or the participation or CEO or CTO level people. So at least the CEO or at least the CTO should be involved in the project. The more dedication of the team to the project, the better. You should have at least an MVP, or let's say a technology readiness level of solution, or a minimum of 6. Lower TRLs are accepted, but the higher TRL, the more chances you have to get the funding. We were looking for companies that had the expectation to have their product in the market in 6 to 9 months, the latest. But this is not, let's say, an exclusion criteria. So as I said before, this is part of the pre-scoring. So the more the better, but this does not exclude others to participate. Also that you are looking for investors to fund your solution in the, let's say, very short term, 6 to 9 months. Also, you have to express your willingness to collaborate or establish collaboration with other companies or large corporations within the same period, 6 to 9 months. And you should bring to us in your application a solution that would be around some of these focused connected car industry areas: self-driving technology, IoT, infrastructure, transportation, autonomous vehicle, and other relevant sectors. So as I said before, we have a set of challenges, we have a set of solutions, of technology solutions, but we are open to receive others. We are simply providing exemplary areas on which we are asking you to submit your application. And as I said before, we are giving money. Yes, we are giving up to 60,000 euros equity free. But the most important thing is the tailor-made coaching services that we are providing to all the SMEs and startups across the program. We are providing business coaching, and we have partners specialized on this, which is ISDI and Business Tech Accelerator, very much specialized, that are providing. The most important thing is the mentorship methodology that they have applied to the project, with specialized mentors on business, with one-to-one sessions, making a detailed follow-up of the business KPIs that the SMEs and the startups have to accomplish with. Technical coaching and technical support and lab hours that was basically provided by our clusters in both of the project, mainly CITAG and Moveo, but across several boot camps that we have organized along the project. All the other clusters have also the chance to meet our startups and our SMEs and make them one-to-one assessment. On top of that, also the corporate coaching that has been provided by our corporates or corporate representatives involved in the project as partners. These are PSA Group, Ferrovial, FIA Region 1, and Fiverr Foundation. So they were basically assessing all our companies on how to fine-tune, let's say, their pitch to the real needs that the corporates have in several areas related to the connected car space. And finally, the funding coaching that is provided by Funding Box Group, which basically means that we are providing several hours of assessment to help our beneficiaries to grab additional EU funds. And all this is done for free. This is done for free because this is covered by the budget of the project. So this is the reason why also the companies feel that this is a really attractive program to participate. They do not have to pay for the services because this is covered by the budget of the EU-funded project itself. All the business, the technical, the corporate, and the funding coaching are fully covered by the program. All these type of coaching services are provided online. So this is another of the main value propositions that we have for the SMEs. They do not have to move their business to receive all these type of services. But on top of that, we are asking the companies to attend several bootcamps along the 6 to 7 months acceleration program. We have what we call disruptive bootcamps, which are, let's say, the entry bootcamp on which the participants are in a jury day where we are selecting the best after pitching in front of the partners, in front of external advisors that might attend to the bootcamp, and then we select which are the beneficiaries that fully go onto the program. The next step for the second stage of the program is the participation in 2 additional bootcamps. The digital bootcamp, where they mainly interact with business mentors, and the technical bootcamp, where they mainly interact with the leading corporates or with the technical mentors. And finally, as the, let's say, the final milestone of the program, the best performers of the previous stage on which companies have to participate in the 2 previous bootcamps, the digital and technical bootcamp, will finally participate in a funding bootcamp where they receive insights on how to get additional funds from the European Commission, EU funding or private funding, but they have also the opportunity to pitch in front of industrial actors and investors. So the best performers across all the programs have the opportunity to participate in this funding bootcamp. I am mentioning here several stages because what we are doing here is that we apply a funnel approach. You are receiving the funding according to your participation in several stages. Here we have some numbers that are exemplary numbers. At the end of the day, we didn't apply exactly these numbers in terms of the beneficiaries participating per round, but in terms of the funding, this is how this was distributed. So initially, let's say with these exemplary numbers, 20 beneficiaries are invited to the jury day, to this disruptive bootcamp, and they receive, after their successful participation in this jury day, in this disruptive bootcamp, 3,000 euros. Then, from those, and after their participation in this jury day and in this disruptive bootcamp, we select the 12 best that will participate in the next stage during 2 months. During those 2 months, they participate in the disruptive bootcamp and the technical bootcamp, and if they successfully participate in that stage, they receive 7,000 euros. And finally, after a midterm review that we do within all the partners that have been involved during that second stage in the different coaching services, the 10 best will participate in the last phase, in the last stage of the program. And if they successfully complete their KPIs, if they successfully participate in the last bootcamp, in the funding bootcamp, they receive the 15,000 euros. On top of that, we provide all the services like access to investors, access to leading corporates, and other activities on which the startups are invited to participate, like events where they get free tickets, and this is something that allow us our partners network and so on. But the basics are these 3 stages, these 4 bootcamps, and this is the final approach that we apply particularly for Impact Connected Car. And how to implement this methodology. And this is just a summary of the logical steps that PARP has defined in the Smartization Toolkit deliverable. This is publicly available. It has been approved by the European Commission, so you can go into the details how to implement it. So at the end, you have to very well, as we did at the logical framework definition stage of this project, when we submitted as an EU proposal that was finally funded by the European Commission, we followed all these logical steps. We defined the problem that we wanted to solve. We defined and identified which were the stakeholders, so finally the partners that participate in Impact Connected Car. We defined the goals of the project, then we planned the tasks, we created teams, so basically which were the coaches that participating across the different coaching stages in the project. We created the timetable, the specific timetable. It has to be very well accomplished. When do we have the midterm review? When are we asking the companies to provide the deliverables or accomplish with the KPIs and so on? Finally, it is very relevant. One of the most important things to create the budget, define the budget, not only the budget to support the startups, but also which are the resources that you need to effectively implement this program, and then to basically start the project following that approach. As we say here, you can make it if through your own smartization program. So you might be interested in applying several of the methodologies or several of the activities that are defined in the smartization program as a whole, in the Impact Connected Car smartization program, but you might be only interested in applying our open car management methodology or only in applying our mentorship methodology. So these are several pieces of a puzzle or a Lego that you can apply at regional or local level, whichever matches with your needs, with your expectations, and with your available resources. Finally, you can get inspiration from the participants' stories and solutions. These are the 31 startups that did it to the last stage from the first and the second batch. Well, this is just to show you an overview of which have been supported companies and startups across Europe. This is a European project, and they were only eligible EU-based or associated countries to Horizon 2020 based companies. But here you have an overview. You can get inspiration from them. So through the Smartization program, you have access to a link where you can see these success stories. And what's next? If you are interested in this methodology and to discover how to do it by yourself at regional or local level. So we have a memorandum of understanding that simply is asking you to show your willingness to implement this methodology or several parts of this methodology. And then you have to let the Smartization Toolkit guide you, and then start your own, what we call a Smartization program. This is not only acceleration, because we are not only providing funding and coaching services. This is a further step. We call it Smartization because we are not helping only the startups to evolve, the startups to improve, but also the regions or the involved parties themselves to apply a discovery methodology process to unveil which are the best performers in the connected car industry, or for the clusters to improve the services that might provide to the future connected car solutions. So this is only useful, not only useful for the startups, but also useful for the regions involved here, because if they apply this methodology, for sure they will discover the best startups, and they will be also able to adapt and improve the services to the future champions in the connected car or the mobility industry. So thank you very much for your time till now. Here you are the link to the website. You can contact me. Well, I will provide you the wrap-up email with my contact details after the webinar. And I'm giving you now the room to my colleague Katy, that, as I said before, will explain you a further step of the toolkit, what we call the label, which is a further step to this the implementation of this acceleration or toolkit methodologies across projects. So I'm showing the next part, Katy?
Yeah, yes, hello everybody. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hi everybody. My name is Katie Nicopensius, and I'm the technology transfer expert here at Funding Box. So as David already introduced, I'm going to talk about the I4MS and SAE joint label. And important here is to mention that if Impact Connected Car was focusing more on, startups and these kind of more agile type of companies, and how to accelerate them, but here in the I4MS and SAE label, we are specifically focusing on the manufacturing companies. I'm sorry, on the manufacturing companies who are in a need of digitalization solutions. And in short, so what is the label? So it's a quality mark that we are giving to successful manufacturing companies who have gotten, funding through I4MS or SAE initiatives, and also who have passed a mentoring program or acceleration program, which is offered by the I4MS and SAE initiatives. Yes, please, next slide. Okay, so I will just introduce you very briefly what is I4MS and what is SAE, so that you would have a little bit of background regarding these initiatives and what do they offer. So first of all, I4MS is an European initiative which is supporting the manufacturing SMEs and also mid-caps for implementation of information and communication technologies in order to improve their processes and their everyday work and make it more efficient. SAE, on the other hand, is also focusing on SMEs and startups, and also mid-caps actually, but they are more focusing on enhancement of products and services through, let's say, digital innovation in general. And these initiatives, what do they offer? So usually they offer, of course, community where the like-minded actors and people can gather together, share ideas, have discussions. Also, they give access to the SMEs to ICT solutions and marketplaces. Very importantly, like in Impact Connected Car, the main focus of these initiatives is to provide funding. So, and the funding is typically provided through the FSTP and the FSTP mechanism and the open calls. And of course, the companies and the regions and DIH can get access to the best practices through these innovation actions. Okay, the next slide. As David already spoke, so Impact Connected Car Toolkit is offering some of the offerings and some of the building blocks, such as success cases. They are providing you with trends in the connected mobility industry. But it is important to say that the label, the I4MS and SAE joint label, is covering a little bit more aspects here, and it's more extended. So what are the usual demands of the region? So first of all, we have identified that there is a large need to, of course, support the regional SMEs financially. Then, of course, we need to show to these SMEs some interesting success cases, so that they would be inspired to implement digital innovations into their everyday processes. But in many cases, there is also lack of knowledge about available technologies and offers on the market. And there is basically no information about where to find these technologies. And how can I4MS and SAE help these regions? And how can we create a win-win situation? So first of all, as I already mentioned, these initiatives, they offer funding through the FSDP mechanism, through the SMEs, manufacturing SMEs. Also, we are providing the success cases through open calls, which you can, show to your regional manufacturing SMEs. Then we have also tested innovative technologies which your SMEs can start using, and they have been tested on a reduced number of SMEs already during the project, maybe during the pilot phase. And of course, you will have access to marketplaces that the SMEs can start using, and where the technologies are readily available for them. Okay, next slide. So how to more specifically collaborate with I4MS and SAE label? As I already mentioned, that one of the benefits that you as a region or digital innovation hub would get is that your companies will have access to these technology and solutions which were developed under SAE and I4MS. But also it's very important that actually we can help regions to gain access to the best innovators in your region, because it is very likely that some of the companies in your region have already gotten funding through I4MS and SAE, and this means that they can serve as good examples or inspiring examples for other manufacturing SMEs in your region. And also there is a win-win cooperation mode the other way around. So for example, if a company has already gotten funding from I4MS or SAE, they could also get an additional funding from the regions in order to continue the digital transformation that they have already started. And very concrete, the call to action for you here is to sign a memorandum of understanding or together with I4MS. And David will send you this presentation where you have access to the link. And basically, when you click on the link, you will have all the, let's say, collaboration modes presented there. And next slide. And in case you have any questions, or if you have any, let's say, concrete interest or concrete idea how to collaborate, then please do contact me directly. And yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kati. Thanks to all for attending. We are like 5 minutes over schedule, but as foreseen in the agenda, we have a Q&A now with participants of 5 minutes. So please let us know if you have any additional doubt, question about the presentation, and so on. Maybe you can ask through the chat to unmute and send your questions, please. Alex is asking if there is a funding call 3 coming. No, for Impact Connected Car. Impact Connected Car has ended in December last year. That's why we are explaining in this webinar how we did it. But for you to know, in Funding Box, as a platform, we have more projects. We have these projects related to I4MS and SI, as Kathy has explained it. And if you are particularly interested in the mobility space, you can go through Funding Box and look for Funding for Growth collection. And there you can look for mobility opportunities or related to mobility opportunities. It is true that we do not have currently any specific project focused particularly on mobility, but we have projects that are focused on specific technologies that have smart cities, smart connectivity, or smart mobility related verticals. Just an example, we have currently a call on DLT, Ledger, blockchain, that has a specific vertical on smart cities and mobility. This is an example that we have more funding opportunities. So not specifically for connected car, but maybe in other projects. Thank you for your question. Do you have more questions through the chat, please? Nope. Are you still shy, or maybe you don't have more questions? Okay, so if you do not have more questions, so thanks again for your participation in this webinar. We will send you the information. We will see how to send you the presentation, because you are registered through the Eventbrite link, and we will send you a wrap-up email also with the contact details about the project, about the project partners. So if you have more questions from the presentations from CTAG, LPNT, Movio, AutoCluster, or PARP as well, please send us an email back, and we will gladly solve all your questions. And if you are particularly interested in the adoption of the smartization toolkit of connected car, or knowing more about the I4MS SI label, please send us back an email or your questions, and we will gladly solve all of them. So if there is no more questions, thank you very much, and have a very nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.